Okay, I'm going to record this session. I just started the recording. So, a couple of housekeeping announcements. First of all, I think most of you all know Dr. Shivakumar. Again, it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce him to you all this evening. He is obviously doesn't probably need introduction to most of you all. You've already probably all met him in some shape or form, but he is a clairvoyant. He is a healer. He is a astrologer. He is a lot of different things, having received initiation and the grace of the Devi Kamakshi as well as uh, Mahapariva and uh, other great saints. Obviously, he has a lot of the best qualifications to teach us about today's course, which is chakra and aura. So aura and chakra, we're going to talk about aura and chakra. Class every day will start at 8:30 Eastern and we'll go for an hour till about 9:30. I'm recording the course, as I said before. Um, one housekeeping is that if you all don't have a book and a pen handy, I'll pause for about 30 seconds for you all to go and grab something, maybe a minute to go grab something, because Dr. Shivakumar has said that it would be useful for everyone to have a book and a pencil or a pen ready to write things down as you go along. And as I said earlier, we will be sending you all a recording as well, so you will have access to that as well. But it would be good to write things down as we move along the course. I think that's all I had as far as announcements. I would like to now turn it around to and the class, by the way, will be Monday through Thursday this week from 8:30 to 9:30. Alrighty, so with that, I am going to pass it to Dr. Shivakumar to start the course for us. Can't wait.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. A very hearty welcome to one and all for this beautiful session on aura and chakra healing. And it will be really a great pleasure for me to give you an introduction into this in depth for this coming 4 days, and we get into the practices also of this. And that's the reason I have been asking all of you to have a notebook and a pen ready, a pen or pencil ready to jot down certain important points. First of all, taking the heading and the caption as aura and chakra healing. Healing is a word which means a lot. Healing is not recovery alone. Healing is also replenishment of energy. Healing is also getting broken things back to form. Healing is again resurrection. So healing is not only recovery, it is resurrection, replenishment, and also getting back to the self. And healing of chakras. Chakra is something which we in English term it as wheel. A wheel is a chakra. Chakra is a Sanskrit word. Chakra is something which is like a wheel. It keeps rotating. That's why it is known as a wheel. And healing, which I said as rightly, the resurrection and replenishment and recovery, whatever terms you use for that, healing of the chakras, which will emit out aura. What is aura? Everyone is already aware, I am sure, and would have heard this term many times in your lifetime, which has passed through till now. Aura is something which is the energy field of each and every species, the energy field of each and everything, whether it is living or non-living, which emits out energy, more to do with the living things because they have the chakras which are live in them. Chakras which operate from inside, emitting out the energy field in the human body or in any species, which emits out as colors or bands or rings of colors, which are seen with the naked eye. Anyone who practices could definitely tend to see this with due practices. Of course, when we start this is a basic course having the first level where we are describing about the healing and chakras and aura and the connectivity between them as you would have already seen in the mail sent to all of you, and also the significance of that, and also the methodologies, basic methodologies of practice, how to enhance your aura, how to enhance your chakras, and how to harness the energies, which will give you a lot of recovery for your imbalanced body metabolism medically, and also increase your aura and powers so that you become more peaceful, so that you become more achieving in every field where you are into. And going ahead, of course, when you practice this, you get to the next levels, and we have almost 5 levels of this to complete. And whoever is interested, of course, later can take on to the next sessions. Anyway, now coming back to the main fold and describing about, as I had said right now, resurrection, replenishment, and recovery of chakras to emit out the aura. So aura ultimately means the emanations of energy around you. So how far your energies are emitted and where from these energies are emitted, that is more important now. Energies are emitted, as I had said, with chakras. What are chakras? Chakras are nothing but the nerve points in your body, the basic nerve points in your body. Now here again, we go to a little of medical things to be describing so that you get an idea exactly how it is medically connected, because this is purely scientific, which in those days I had mentioned in my earlier workshop of Sundarakandam, which many people have attended, and most of you are there here today also. I had already mentioned, if you recollect, that spirituality and science were not different. They are one and the same, and only during the present times, rather, due to a lot of human interference, political interference, and other things, it has been made into 2 different subjects. Otherwise, it was all our old series, all our old ancient people had all these things scientifically interpreted. Only thing is they use a lot of spiritual ways to put it through so that it reaches to the people in those days in the right way. But now we have the scientific way of deciphering it, which was also done earlier, but in a very covered up, very gupt manner, they say secretive manner, so that the common man is able to understand. So now coming to this, the nerve points, the chakras. How many chakras are there? As you see in the slide, you can see, and many of you are already aware, when you read out a lot of mantras, slokas like the Lalita Sahasranama, which clearly describes the chakras, and also many yogas and yogic positions, which you would have seen. Many of you would be practicing yoga also. So you already have the chakras described in it. They are the 6 main chakras, starting from the Muladhara to the Sahasrara. And here, many would have also heard about what is known as Kundalini Yoga. Kundalini Yoga, which is very famous and which is practiced in many places, and many teachers all over the world are doing it in big, big ways. And that has really fetched benefits for people. Kundalini Yoga is the Muladhara Chakra, which is the nerve plexus in the bottommost part of the body, that is the spine. Now here, coming back to the main point, which I had to emphasize and give you the basis, I'm coming to that. Everyone is aware of the shape of a trident. Trident has something which has 3 heads and one, the central portion which holds all the 3 heads, right? Till the bottom, you have seen that. Just imagine, take a medical representation of this and imagine, take a medical picture, visualize 3 heads, the skeletal system, the circulatory system, the nervous system. And then holding that together, the vertebra, that is the spine. Rightly put, if you take a medical student, how he describes the human body, it has a direct relation with the chakras, and then we come to the aura, how it is connected. Now, as I had said, this trident and these 3 systems medically, the brain being the central nervous system, the brain, the most important part in the human body. That is why we have brain deaths, which are more dangerous than heart deaths. Heart deaths can be resurrected many a times. When a brain is dead, there is nothing which can be done. So that means the most important part, that is the Mastishk, they call it in Hindi, and they call it the Buddhi in Sanskrit or any language, Indian language. And buddhi is something related directly to the organ brain. And brain is the central nervous system, the main part, which has three components again, the cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Everyone is aware of that, and the functions of that, which I am not going into detail. You can later on see in the books also. Anyway, coming to the brain, which is the central nervous system, which controls and which directs it directly through the vertebra, the spine, from the brain, connecting it to the spine, behind the human body, the backbone, which we call it in the common colloquial terms, which is the spine in a scientific medical way. And from the cerebrum, starting of the central portion of the brain, which is the forebrain, to the back, the whole spine, which is the lumbar, cervical, and the lumbar. Cervical you term in the terms of your neck, and then you have almost a section of 1, 2, 3, and then you have lumbar spines 1 to 5, and that goes on till your buttocks in the down below the body portion. This is the medical aspect of a trident. This is the skeletal system. Now coming to when the nervous system is having the brain as the central portion and the nerves percolate straight, the main nerves through the spine to the bottommost portion of your body, that is the central nervous system. And there is a lot of periphery nervous system. There are a lot of nerve points and neurons, which are known as neurons. There are 1 trillion neurons in a human body, for your information. And out of that, the brain in itself, the central nervous system in it has 76,000 neurons, scientifically put, medically. 76,000 neurons, which are very interestingly here. I just want to quote, though it is not directly related here, but I'm just quoting. You have the 76,000 neurons depicted as 76 copper plates in the Sanctum Sanctorum tower above Chidambaram temple, just to describe the human body, because Chidambaram temple is said to be an example of human body, which is depicted there. And that is why you have the same Nataraja Murthy as a universal dancer and a cosmic dancer. And this concept, universal concept, is depicted in the world's biggest physics lab in Switzerland, which in the entrance itself has the Murti of Nataraja. And also, interestingly, the Chennai airport also has a Nataraja Murti as an example for this. Anyway, this is something which is slightly related, but I'm just quoting this. Now, why I quoted this is there is another reason, basically, because when you talk about this aura and chakras, you have great saints like Patanjali, who are yogic masters, and yoga has all this in-depth analyze, and yoga uses all this chakra healing to do the yogic positions and achieve benefits. And Patanjali is one of the greatest saints who was a yoga teacher and who is a Siddha also, and who practiced this chakra and aura yoga, right? And he was very closely associated with Chidambaram, according to the legends. Now coming back to the main topic. So again, this trident holding and giving you the medical aspect and controlling the body, the neurons transmitted from the central nervous system to the entire body, the peripheral nervous system, which controls your motions, that is your motor activities, your leg, hand, all the movements, then which also controls your involuntary actions like the respiration, which automatically happens, the digestion, the heartbeat, and all these things, and then which also controls your senses, right? This is where this, from the brain to the last point of your body, which I said the L5, the lumbar spine, this is where all your chakras are placed. In the medical aspect, if you take it, which is visible to the human eye, that is known as the chakra. And this is what we call in Sanskrit as Parakosha chakra. Parakosha, kosha is the human body. Para means evident outside. This is the Parakosha chakra. And what is the Sukshma chakra? There are 2 chakras which are intertwined in the sense which are linked. And that is from where this connection of these chakras lets you emit the energies based on the activity of your chakra. So the basis and the secret between this aura and chakra healing is mainly, in a nutshell, the harnessing of your chakras The metabolism of your body, which is harnessed with the proper functioning of your parakosha and sukshma chakras intertwined together in a coordinated way, which will give you the right aura or the energy field emitted out of you, which definitely results, and that is the reason you can now note certain words, like you call a person aggressive, you call a person very wise and shrewd, you call a person very clever, you call a person very charismatic, you call a person very attractive, you call a person who is very highly communicative. There are many attributes you call each person, right? Whether it's a saint, whether it's a politician, whether it's an industrialist, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a student, whether it's a child, whether it's an artist, you give different attributes. What are these attributes? How do these attributes come around? Actually, scientifically speaking, these are all coming out of your chakras when it is harnessed in the right way to communicate, to exhibit, to attract, to get the control of all this with people and the society and the atmosphere and with everything and each and everything every day what you do. And that is the reason we are doing this workshop, where we want to really harness and correct and balance our aura and the chakras basically, to emit out the right auras every time, so that we are able to achieve things both medically and also achieve success and peace and happiness and bliss in our everyday present life. Right now, coming back to the medical aspects, which I described to interrelate this in a right way, coming to the chakras, which I described now, which are the root cause for the aura to be emitted. What are the different chakras? Every one of you is aware of the basic chakras, which are 7, which is the Mooladhara chakra being the root chakra. Here I would like you to note down so that the points are very clear. Mooladhara chakra, which is the root chakra, which is the nerve plexus, as I had mentioned in the vertebral column, the spine, the last nerve plexus L5 area of your body, where just above your buttocks, the human buttocks, the nerve point, that is the spine, where inside you have this Mooladhara chakra. In the Sanskrit, it is mentioned as Mooladhara. Moola means the root chakra, where you have a nerve plexus. You would have heard in Lalita Sahasranamam, Mooladharam Bhujaruda Panchavastra Asti Samstita. Panchavastra, it is covered with 5 covers, 5 tissues. That's why it is mentioned as Panchavastra. Asti Samstita. Asti is the skull, that is the bone. It's not only the skull, it is the bone. Skull is, sorry, I mentioned a wrong word. Skull is Kapala. Asti is the bone. So Panchavastra Asti Samstita. Asti is the bones, covered with the bone, the 5 tissues and 5 types of nerves. That's the nerve group, which is known as a plexus in medical sciences. So that is the place where you have the Mooladhara chakra. Mooladhara chakra is a chakra which is the starting point of your spine below to reach out to the Sahasrara, your brain, and vice versa from the brain to below Mooladhara. That is why many a times you wonder in temples, you always do this Abhishekam and all this ritualistic things. Why it is done? It is just to depict the chakras in you. From Keshadi Padam, Padadi Kesham, they say. Keshadi Padam is from the head to the, from the hair head to the toe, Padam, and Padadi Kesham. It's actually the chakras being harnessed to depict that position to a human being. They have told you it's not just to do Abhishekam and keep quiet. They have told you this is a depiction indirectly to indicate what are the chakras in you and how you do Abhishekam in you. Abhishekam means not just pouring the materials which is depicted in the temple. It is for you to how you harness and do the corrections in your chakras inside, vice versa from the Mooladhara to the Sahasrara. Now coming to the Mooladhara again, there in the scriptures, it is mentioned we invoke Ganpati, the Lord Ganpati for Mooladhara. Mooladhara Chakra. And Mooladhara Chakra is otherwise known as the Kundalini energy. This is a spot where the human being has his strong emotions embedded, and the strength of a personality is depicted from here. Why they say this? Why it is known as a root chakra? Now I'm coming to the medical aspect of it. It is known as a root chakra because this is where you have a reddish color of the chakra, because the Sukshma chakras, which I said, is inside the other part of the body, which is connected directly with the communication of the body, both these chakras and the Parakosha chakras and the Sukshma chakras. The Sukshma chakras are nothing but the endocrine glands of the human body, which are again 6 to 7 numbers, which emit out, which secrete hormones, and these hormones are something which are very important, and many of us have these hormonal problems where we end up with thyroid and other things commonly which you would have heard, and we go to the endocrinologist and we go to the gynec or anyone to take these medicines. These are the endocrine glands which are known as the Sukshma chakras in those days. This Parakosha chakra activity and the Sukshma chakra activity together form the basis of chakra as in totality to give us the energies which emit out in the aura. So these are the things which we have to maintain. Now Mooladhara chakra is the root chakra, which is very important, and the deity there is Ganpati, and the mantra there is Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. The first lord of our Hindu scriptures, which we described as Ganpati, and which we also say as Pillayalvar in the Vaishnavic cult, which is the most important deity to remove all the obstacles. Why they say remove all obstacles? Obstacles removed is the mindset removed to make your mind more concrete and strong. And this is where the endocrine gland has this spleen near you, which is a producer of your red blood cells, and also it is the graveyard of the red blood cells. Every day in and out, 24 hours, it produces new RBCs in your body, which is very important for your blood count. And when your blood, that is the circulatory system, is intact, that is when you have the energy to talk and energy to do things. That is why it is known as the root chakra, the strongest chakra, the Kundalini and the Mooladhara, and Ganapati is prayed to in this form. And Mooladhara chakra is related to the spleen. The spleen is a very important organ in the human body and which is connected to the endocrine. Now coming to the second chakra, which is the Swadhisthana, that is the sacral chakra in English. Swadhisthana, Swad in Hindi and in Sanskrit and in Tamil and in any language for that matter. Most of the Indian languages have the word Swad. Swad is nothing but taste. Taste. What is the taste? Here it is not the taste of the tongue, it is the taste of your mind. What is the taste? The taste of your organs, the emotions which are created for procreation, the emotions which are created for creativity, that is creation in terms of your reproduction and other things. So which is directly related to the endocrine gland, which is the ovaries and the testes for the male and female respectively, which is in the pelvic region, which is the Swadhisthana chakra, that is the sacral chakra. And here we have the Devata, that is the Lord of that, as depicted, because we all know among the Trimurtis, we have Brahma, who is the creator. So obviously, creator Brahma is linked to this chakra, and we always pray to him for the creation of progeny and everything, and which the mantra goes as Om Paramahamsaya Namaha. Paramahamsaya Namaha. Hamsa is a swan, the divine swan, which is supposed to reside, the divine swan of Brahma, which is supposed to reside at Manasarovar, the Shakti Peeth in India. Right? This is Paramahamsaya Namaha. That is the mantra for Swadhisthana chakra to be harnessed in the proper way. These are the mantras given to make you concentrate on those chakras, to correct the activity of that chakra, respectively correcting also the endocrine gland linked to it, as I had mentioned earlier, the spleen and now the ovaries and testes, which are to be corrected with Mooladhara and Swadhisthana. Now I'm coming to Manipura, which is the next chakra. I'm going part by part from below to the above, from Pada Adi Keshav. Okay, now coming to Manipura, which is the solar plexus. This is a word many would have heard many a times from different lectures or whatever it is, books or whatever. So solar plexus chakra. Solar plexus. Solar, anyone knows that is linked to the sun. Solar is the sun energy. And sun energy is always linked to heat. Heat is linked to acidity. Acidity is linked to acid. And where do we have acid in our body? We have acid in our stomach. That is hydrochloric acid, which digestion happens to all of us, all the animals, every species, through the hydrochloric acid in the body. So, and that body hydrochloric acid is contained in the stomach area, and that is when the lining of the stomach gets affected, we have this ulcer and all those things. And why that ulcer and things happen? It happens because the solar plexus chakra is not harnessed or controlled or kept in a right metabolism. And this chakra in Sanskrit is known as Manipura, Mani. Why it is known as Mani and Pura? Because Mani is the gem, right? And the gem in the stomach area, outside depiction, we all have a navel, which is like a money, which is like a small gem. And that is the central point of the stomach, which is very important. And that is why it is known as Manipura. It is Pura, that is full. That navel in itself is full, showing you the entire stomach area when you open up. So the stomach, and you know, has all the important organs, with the most biggest endocrine gland linked to this chakra, which is the pancreas. The biggest endocrine gland in the human body, the pancreas, which is just behind inside the stomach, and which is the main point nowadays, which you would have seen a lot of us are suffering from the diabetic pancreatitis and all this type of diseases, conditions rather than diseases, diabetes. And most of us with whom we have this diabetes in different forms, which is due to the malfunction of the pancreas which secretes the insulin hormone. Everyone is evident. Each endocrine gland, as I said, will secrete hormones, which again percolate into the bloodstream and which gives signals to the brain and central nervous system. So that means there is a link between the endocrine glands again with the chakras, that is the Parakosha chakras and the Sukshma chakras, the endocrine glands. Now coming to the next chakra, which we are going above in the body, upper part, which is next from the stomach to the heart, that is the heart chakra, and that is known as Anahata. Anahata. Why it is known as Anahata? In Sanskrit, Anahata means enormous, endless, Anahata. The beats are endless because it is involuntary action of the central nervous system, which makes the heart function. It is rather than the central nervous system, it is the peripheral nervous system, which makes it function. And even when we sleep, the heart beats. We are not controlling it. It is involuntary. It automatically happens. That is why it is known as Anahata. Anahata, that is the heart chakra. And this is linked to the endocrine gland, the Sukshma chakra, which is the thymus gland, which is just in between the lungs, and which is, see, the lungs are above the heart. You know that, almost in the same part of your chest, and the heart is just inside that neck cavity, right? The pericardial thing which covers it up. So the thymus gland is in between your ribs and in the central portion between the lungs, and which is below the sternum, that is the ribs, and which is the main endocrine gland, which is the main part for our immune system, which is the immune gland, and the entire lymphatic system. The immune system, which is the lymphatic fluid, is governed and secreted. Thymolin hormones and T cells, the immunity cells, are secreted by this endocrine gland. And this is the Sukshma chakra linked to the heart chakra, that is the Anahata. And these chakras, as I had mentioned, the Parakosha chakras are all in the nerve spine, which is linked to this. Linked in which way? Linked in this way medically, that is the lymphatic system, which is the lymph fluid, which flows through your nerves, which reaches from the lymphatic system. As you have seen right now, I described is the thymus, and all the other glands which secrete hormones, which also end up in your circulatory system. So you can really imagine here, it's really ironical. You see the human body as such. Now, I just thought of a point which I had to mention here, which is indirectly related to what we are talking. The human body is something like this earth, which is 3/4 covered with water. Water of different types. Only the colors and waters are different. How? The circulatory system, which is full of blood. The lymphatic system, which is nerves, which is full of water, which is lymph. Named in different parts like rivers. When it reaches the head, when it sits from the head, you term it as cerebral fluid. When it reaches your neck, then you call it, and spine, you call it cerebrospinal fluid. When it reaches out to your other parts of the body in your peripheral nervous system, you call it as synovial fluid and other fluids in the body. And blood in different parts, it's the same blood flows, that is another liquid with a different color. And then you have the other fluids, that is the phlegm, and then you have this semen, you have the ovarian hormonal secretions which come out, all fluids in your body. And again, apart from all these things, you have also acid, which is again watery in form, which is hydrochloric acid. So almost like the earth, the 3/4 of your body is also filled with different fluids. And imagine the Almighty's grace to how nicely he has packed all these things without spilling over to each other in the entire body as a human missionary or a species missionary, which has been done with great geometrical proportions, which is beautiful engineering. Engineering can be learned from the human system, and that is where they created this chakra and aura healing, which is the beautiful system to be harnessed. Now coming back to the fold again, we have the next chakra, which is the Vishuddhi chakra. Vishuddhi chakra, from the heart we reach to the neck, and the neck region we have the Vishuddhi chakra, the throat, the Vishuddhi chakra, and we have this glands linked to that, which most of us, especially ladies, have more of that problem many a times because of a lot of health issues related to this chakra, and that is the thyroid and parathyroid glands secreting the thyroxine hormone respectively, which results in a lot of complications if we have a mismatch of thyroid, right? This is linked to the Vishuddhi chakra. Vishuddhi, why it is known as Vishuddhi? Vishuddhi is Shuddhi, that is purity in full form, and Vishuddhi chakra. In fact, there is one point I missed out. I'll come back to that. That is Anahatajya chakra. The deity there is Dakshinamurti. Om Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. In that, you have another mantra which is very powerful, which can be recited for children, especially for the education and their emotional control in the right way, for them to mellow down, mature out in a nice way, blossom out with all their abilities, where you invoke Dakshinamurti, who is the deity of education, or Hayagriva, who is the deity of education. Jnananandamayam, you know that sloka. Jnananandamayam devam nirmala spatikakritim adharam sarvavidyanam hayagrivam upasmahe. Otherwise, you have Vidya Medo Yasha Prajnam Sri Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. This is the mantra. Right? Why Dakshinamurti and Hayagriva? Because it's the heart chakra. Heart is the place where you have a lot of creativity and emotions. Heart is the place where many of us fail, and that is where we take into wrong decisions rather than listening to our head, because most of us in the sense 99% of the human species is made up in such a way that we think by the heart, not with the head. Many a times we do not coordinate the chakras properly. Anyway, now coming to Vishuddhi, where we have Vishuddhi chakra, the throat, which is very important to communicate, the voice, everything, which is very important in communicating to achieve. When you communicate, you attract people. When you communicate, you have a control over people. When you communicate in a corporate, you are able to be successful. You achieve, you go to the next levels. Communication, marketing, or whatever you call it in different terminology as a jugglery of words nowadays is very important, even in those days and nowadays, whichever field be it. And that is where we have the importance of Vishuddhi chakra, because if the throat goes away, even for an artist, then there is no song, there is nothing. So it's something like that. For example, so here the deity which is prayed, as obviously you know, for all the Vidya, the education and the communication and arts, it is Saraswati. So we call it Para Saraswati Namaha. This is the mantra for it. Para Saraswati Namaha. Why Para? That is the endless Para, entire coverage, endless Saraswati Namaha. See Saraswati in everything. That is why it is known as Para Saraswati Namaha, the deity. And then we have coming up further upper portion of the body, we have the Ajna Chakra, which is very important, which is an important chakra in the entire human body, because Ajna Chakra is linked to the endocrine gland, the Sukshma Chakra, which is the pineal gland in the medical terminology as the endocrine gland. Pineal gland is a gland which is very important. Why it is known as one of the most important glands in the endocrine system, that is the Sukshma Chakra, is because it releases the hormone melatonin, which is very important for the sleep of a person, which is very important for the sleep of a sleep pattern of a species. Sleep is something, now here, if you analyze, it may be terming to be simple to say, we are sleeping. It is not easy. Just because we are sleeping, we think it is very easy to sleep. No, sleep is something which is a very important activity to control, rather to regulate the entire metabolism of the human body or any species. You lack sleep, you end up with a lot of problems related to anorexia and all these problems which are very evident nowadays. Sleep patterns. And here I have to say something which is very funny at the same time, which is very important. Many of us in olden days, many of our elders also used to say, there was a saying in English, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Right? Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Why they said healthy, wealthy, and wise? Because you become healthy when you have a correct sleeping pattern. Early you sleep, early you get up. Why early get up? You get lot of ozone oxygen which emits out in the early mornings according to science, and that is scientifically proved. And why early to bed? So that your metabolism, your pancreas, your endocrine glands, your liver, everything deactivates all the toxins and functions in the night to recover you for the next day. It automatically, there is a process of chakra healing which happens for every one of us, but we are breaking it because of our patterns which are disrupted, and that is the reason we tend to have all sorts of medical ailments in different ways, and keep on doing this disbalance or misbalance. That is when we tend to have a disease exactly. Otherwise we just have conditions, but this can be rectified over practices continuously, which is easy to do by oneself. But the problem is, it is easily said than done, because many of us, it's not our mistake, it has become a habit that most of us lack in our determination, and most of us have this laziness, which is a big, I think here I have to say a joke. It is something like an Navagraha, another Graha, Dashagraha, which has really to be tackled nowadays for all generations. I am sorry to say this. Anyway, now coming to this again here, mentioning about the pineal gland and the melatonin and the sleeping pattern and which it releases, which is the Sukshma Chakra, which is directly linked to the Ajna Chakra, which is in the forehead, which is known as the third eye. Many of you would have heard about third eye activation. Third eye is something which is very important. Why they said third eye? Third eye, because when you sleep, you dream. When you sleep, there is a lot of events, not only the dreams, you undergo subconsciously, your mind registers lot of things and incidents which have happened previously, and you keep doing it unconsciously in your mind, and that comes out in your brain in the morning in different ways, and the whole day has a balance or disbalance based on that. That is why it's a very important this thing. And this pineal gland harnessing, the third eye activation was done. Why it is called as activation? The activation was done so that you know what has happened, what you're going to do. All these things are medically tuned with the pineal gland activation. And this is what was practiced by many yogis as Kundalini Yoga and third eye activation. This was something which is very important. And this is one of the courses which goes in the next levels when in this aura and chakra healing. The next levels have this in it. That is the third eye activation and things. When you do the third eye activation, that is where we end up with having something called, I'm mentioning here, another levels, which is known as astral travels. Astral travels is something which where is linked to telepathy. You call it as telepathy in the colloquial terms. Telepathy is something related to soul energy communications. So where you communicate your telepathy, your mental waves, and the other person. Many a times you would have noticed that you say, when somebody calls over the phone, you say, "Arey, I was thinking of calling you and you have exactly called me." How this happens? We may many a times think it is coincidental. It is not coincidental. Scientifically, the mental waves are more faster than the light waves. Light waves are supposed to be the fastest according to science. And now science itself says that mind waves are more faster than light waves. So this is where your third eye activation works, and it leads you to astral travel, where you are able to make travels to particular places. Here, I would like to relate one incident which happened with me actually, with this activation and the astral travel, which was done some years before. And since I think I don't know whether it will be proper to mention the names exactly of who was involved, because that doesn't look nice, but I am indirectly quoting it so that you get a hint also. So just to get the incident rightly into your minds. It happened for me, being a normal human being like you and me. So it happened to me some years before. When this activation happened, there was an incident in your place, that is States, where a lady had seen her daughter in the morning in a bookshop, and that girl got missed from that place within seconds. And that lady, she had not gone with her. This girl had gone to buy some books or something in America in one place. And I think it was California, if I remember right. It was quite some years, 8 to 9 years now, I think, almost. So where this lady, who was a very, very great devotee of Kanchi Acharya, and Kanchi Acharya, at that time, the Acharya was there, that is the, not Perival after that. So when that happened, the girl was missing, and she called the Matham and informed them in a very panicky stage. As a mother, you can assume that it happens because of the anxiety. And then the Acharya had one of his Sishyas, or I should say Bhaktas or whatever, from Mumbai, one of the persons who was a client to me earlier, many years before. And now also he calls me once in a while. So he was the person who called me one day in the morning here when I was doing my prayers, saying that Acharya wants you to do an astral travel and find out where one of his Bhaktas' daughters is missing, and whether she'll come back or what, how, and what has happened. I was really taken aback for a second, because I didn't know. I was doing my prayers and I was not unaware of all these things. And I was suddenly shocked. How do I do that? And that is when really this astral travel happened, which I harnessed and I could do by the Almighty's grace, all the Acharya's grace, everyone, every great soul. And it really worked, where I could see the girl exactly in a bookshop in the morning. The incidents be going beyond the time, that is the astral travel, a little behind and little ahead, what has happened. And I could relate that. It was not astrology, it was a vision, which was really the astral travel through the third eye activation, which I could see the girl being picked up by 4 people who came in a van or whatever, a vehicle. It was not a van. In fact, I remember it was something like an Innova. I don't know the name of the vehicles and all nowadays, but then I can just quote that it was, because I don't, I am the only person I think in the world who doesn't know anything about vehicles, gear, clutch and all that also I do not know, because I don't drive even a cycle. I am a handicap in that way. Anyway, something like an Innova, because it was huge. And this girl went voluntarily with them. They were talking nicely to her and they picked up and she went with them. And after half an hour, she came to the same place. They dropped her there and she was there, and the mother came, the parents came and picked her up. And this is how it happened. This is what I could see. And I told immediately, I called this person in Mumbai and told, this is what I'm able to see, and she'll be there within some time. And these were the people whom I could see, the structure and all. And this is the name of the shop and all, which was seen there. That also came out. A green board, that also I could see, green with black and all these things. And then after half an hour to 1 hour, this man called me and said, Acharya has blessed you. The girl is back. And so then I said, that was from my side, which was not the third eye activation. I just said, please tell whatever Mr. I'm not quoting the name. Please tell Mr. to tell that mother, the parents, not to ask her, over question her why she went, all those things, and give a trauma to her. Let her forget this. Be happy that at least luckily they have not harmed her. Actually, what happened in the incident was this girl was mistook for somebody else, and they picked her up talking to her. And then one of them was her friend only in that vehicle. And that's why she went with them. And then they knew it was somebody else, and then they just avoided, they dropped her back, and nothing happened to her by the Almighty's grace. Anyway, now coming to this incident which happened, now I am coming to, because we are lacking in time, I am coming to the next chakra, which is the Sahasrara chakra, that is the final chakra in our human body, which is the crown chakra, known as the crown chakra. As you can guess, crown is in the head, forehead, and crown chakra, the forehead chakra. And here we have the crown chakra, we have the Sanskrit name as Sahasrara. Why Sahasrara? Because that is where the forehead, and there is where you have the master endocrine gland, that is the pituitary gland, which controls the secretion of all the hormones to whatever level it is required in the human body. Right? And that is the Sukshma chakra, the pituitary gland, and the Parakosha chakra is the Sahasrara chakra. And that is where every saint reaches to the Sahasrara to get the mukti, to get the enlightenment, from Buddha to the latest saints, everyone. And this is what happens with Sahasrara. And that is why you have in Lalita Sahasranama mentioned as Sahasrara Ambuja Ruda Sudha Varshavi Samsita. Sahasrara Ambuja, it is like a lotus. Why they termed it as a lotus? Because you have all the 76,000 neurons out of the 1 trillion neurons in the human body, which are the most important, the 76,000, which are in your Sahasrara, behind that in the brain. And that is where you have the final point, which is can be termed as a chakra, but why it is not classified into the chakra is because it is a small hole, a small space in the central portion, which is the behind brain of your head, inside the skull. And that is why when you touch a child or anything in those days, they used to say, even your elders would have told you and you would remember, please don't touch the central portion of the head of the child. It is very soft. Don't touch. There is a why? Because there is a small hole in between the cranium for every one of us, even now, a very small space, which is a space known as the Brahmarandra chakra, Brahmarandra. But that is not classified into a chakra, though it is a main nadi. Nadi is the nerve. Brahmarandra is the connectivity. And the gland connected to that is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is the endocrine gland, which is behind the brain and which is very important in everything. Because though the pituitary is the master gland, the master has a madam, and the madam is hypothalamus. Because the madam controls that, and the hypothalamus controls the pituitary to do what action it should do. And the pituitary in turn controls the secretion of the entire endocrine gland system, all the glands to secrete or not secrete the hormones according to the levels which we harness or our metabolism is. Now, saying all these things regarding chakras, and now coming to the colors they emit as aura in different chakras, that we are coming to now, saying that in brief and in detail.
I have a question.
Yes.
Could you please tell the deity for Manipura chakra and Sahasrara chakra, and also
Manipura chakra? One second. I think I told you the Manipura chakra deity, if you remember, but I'll repeat again. Manipura chakra, you have Clean Narayanaya Namaha. Why Narayana? Now coming there is a significance. Why Narayana? Narayana, because you have a saying in Sanskrit, Ananta Paryanta Shayana Prabho. Ananta Paryanta Shayana Prabho. You see the yogic position of sleeping by Narayana. Many times, many of us even tease. We say, Ayo Thunginde Kadaka Narayana Mari Nidrapotne Unnaru Alage, Emi Chetan Ledu Alage, Nidrapotnaru Kan Muskoni ani. That is not like that. Not by just closing the eyes, he is sleeping. It is a yogic position. And why he is depicted with Manipura chakra, which is the stomach, because Narayana is a priyan of all Puliyodharai, Tairisadam, and everything, Nevedyams, Laddu, Gittu, all you make. You have seen that in the human level. So that is why exactly, obviously, it is linked to Narayana. And Narayana is linked to all these organs of the stomach, the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, and things which have to be really in the right shape. And now, Sahasrara, you ask me, Sahasrara is with the deity of Durga, Dum Durgaye Namaha. Why Durga? Dum is the Bijakshara. Why Durga is because Durga has Ashto Bhujangi Mahishasya Mardini. That is Ashtadasha Bhujam, 18-handed Durga. That is how we depict 18-handed. Why we depict Durga in crown chakra is because Sahasrara is 76,000 neurons. That is various numbers, a number of hands. That is why that deity is obviously depicted and with lot of energy, because that is the culmination of energy, Sahasrara, and that is the chakra which is the highest. And above that, as I had mentioned, the Brahmarandra, which is a small point, which is also very important, which gives the Kapal Moksham for all the saints. That is the Brahmarandra chakra. That's why we tell children or elders should not be tapped on the head in the central portion, because the skull and the cranium have a small gap, which is very minute, which can only be seen with a microscope. Anyway, now coming to this, the deities, now I am depicting the colors which comes out with this chakras. The Mooladhara chakra gives you red colors, as obviously you have the spleen which produces the RBC there and kills the RBC every day. And the killed RBC is what comes out in the excreta, and that is why you have the color of the excreta yellow or whatever it is, according to science. Okay, now I'm saying that also, don't think I'm saying something vulgar. It is a science. Anyway, now coming to, because excretion is also an important part of the body, then only you are able to come out of your toxins. That is why God has given you that. Now coming to the sacral chakra, that is the Swadhisthana, you have orange aura emitted generally for everyone. And this is the flowing creative energy. It's a creative energy because that is through which you have the ovaries and testes producing the reproduction and the progeny. Then you have the solar plexus chakra, that is the Manipura, where you have yellow color, which depicts the solar chakra, which is stomach. When your stomach is comfortable, and that is when you are able to relax and talk to anyone, right? Everyone, when they have you would have all seen this film Piku or heard about it, where Amitabh Bachchan has a lot of problems with the stomach, right? And you can see how a person suffers with stomach. And stomach and excretion and digestion, everything is connected. That is why you call it as Jataragni. Your food has to be digested with the Jataragni. What is the Jataragni? Jataragni is the hydrochloric acid in your stomach, right? And this hydrochloric acid digests your food, and the bile metabolizes from the liver, all these things. And that is why you have the secretion of bilirubin. Anyway, that's all medicine, which I just vaguely told you. Anyway, now coming to the solar plexus chakra, the Manipura, which depicts the yellow color, when you have the confidence and empowerment, because when your mind is calm, when your stomach is comfortable, you become more confident to talk in a meeting or whatever. When your stomach is not calm, you feel very troubled when you have piles and other things, right? Anyway, coming to the next thing, you have the heart chakra, which depicts always the green colors which emits from the heart. Green color. Why green color? Because green color, the blood, the venous blood, which gets purified and which becomes red. Venous blood, which is almost greenish blue, right? Now coming to the heart chakra, which becomes again pink or red, which again has the pink color also in it, from the impure blood to the pure blood. Now coming to the next chakra, that is the Vishuddhi chakra, where we have the thyroid and parathyroid, which gives out the colors of the aura as blue. Blue depicting a powerful mind, because you communicate when your mind is very strong. You communicate properly when you only reach your mental realms in the right way. And that is where you have a blue aura emitted out if your thyroid, that is the Vishuddhi chakra, is strong. Now coming to the third eye chakra, that is the Agnya chakra, which is the purple colors. Purple is the aura which emits if your third eye is activated strongly. Strong purple emissions come out. Then you have the crown chakra, which is you think larger than yourself, just like the saints who think about all the world. And that is where it is pure white, sublime, serene. Then you have, apart from all these colors, you have many people have, when the disbalance happens, you have rainbow colors, mixed colors, where sometimes you have broken colors, that is black, when your chakras are fatigued here and there in the body. Then you have gray, where you have a lot of uncertainty, which is a lighter version of black. Then you have brown when you are very strong with lot of blocks in your chakras, which gives you selfishness and thinking about yourself only. And these are the chakra colors which come out as aura. If the balances are disrupted, you have variations in these colors, right? And now these are the aura colors which I said related to the chakras and the chakras which I described in detail. And now I'm coming to something else to be told here, which is very interesting. There are certain points here.
Excuse me, sir, and the Agya Chakra Matra Pancham, can you tell me the deity for that as well, please?
Agnya Chakra, you have the deity which I mentioned here. 1 second, I'll take out my paper which I wrote here. Agnya Chakra is Chadhakshara, Subramanya, Om Subramanyam, Subramanyam. That is the exact simple mantra for it. Subramanyam. Why is Agnya Chakra is linked to Subramanya? According to legend and according to the yogic sciences, Subramanya is a person, the power which came out of the third eye of Lord Shiva, third eye being the Agnya Chakra, and a fire form, and that is why it is known as Agnya Chakra. And fire form, that is why it is purple in color. Right? Any other question? Or do I continue with the remaining thing? Hello?
Thank you, sir. It's good. Thank you.
Now coming to certain minute points which I wanted to indicate here, though we have already covered today's thing with the aura and chakra introduction and all these details. Now I'm coming to certain small points before we complete. I think you can give me 5 more minutes if it's okay with all of you.
Yes. Thank you.
There are certain, you would have all heard about this Shakti Pitas, which are different parts of, which are formed in different parts of India, in the Indian subcontinent in those days. Sorry, which is the present India. Then we have some in Bangladesh, we have some in Nepal, which some we have in China, Tibet, and some which we have in Ukraine, some which we have in Sri Lanka, some which we have in Africa, and all these places. Shakti Pitas, which are the Shakti in its meaning itself has that it is something to do with Devi, and Devi's different parts which fell down during the legend which happened, that is Daksha Yajna and other things which you are all aware, which I am not going into detail. Out of this thing which I wanted to mention here, which is very significant, is the Shakti Pita in Kanyakumari. Kanyakumari is a place which is a tourist spot and also a very powerful Shakti Pita which many people would have gone in life and which we would have enjoyed the sunset, sunshine and everything. But it's a very powerful Shakti Pita where the Kundalini of Ambal fell. That is a part which fell there. The back spine, the Mooladhara Chakra, Kundalini fell there when Sati's body was cut. And that Shakti Pita is known as Sharvani Pita. Sharvani, that is achieving of Sarvam. Sarvam is achieving everything, because the root chakra is very important for determination and the power of a soldier. And that is the Shakti Pita, which is Kanyakumari. And there is one more Shakti Pita which is very powerful, which is Kamakhya, which comes as the Adi Pita, which is in Gauhati, Assam, in Neelachal Mountains, which is a beautiful tourist spot and a mountain where Kamakhya Devi, where the sacral chakra of Devi fell down, which is the ovaries and the vagina, that is the gonads and things, reproductive system, the procreation, the chakra, sacral chakra, which is known as Kamakhya, where Devi is known as Kamakhya Devi, which is the Swadhisthana chakra in Shakti Pita. And also you have the navel and the stomach, that is the solar plexus, which fell down in a Shakti Pita, which is Manipura, which is in Manasarovar, which is a part where Shakti Pita, everyone, when during they go for the Kailas Yatra, they would have, many of you would have experienced that, who have gone to the Kailas Yatra, or you would have heard about the Kailas Yatra. Anyway, that is the Shakti Pita there, which is linked to the chakra. So I just wanted to say this, and all these are mentioned in Lalita Sahasranama very clearly. If you see the deciphering of Lalita Sahasranama, if anyone is interested, in between we can do a session of Lalita Sahasranama for 2-3 days, where you can decode all these things linked to this subject exactly, so that it will be more interesting, and that will be very interesting. A free session for everyone who can participate. Anyway, now these are one of certain things. And now coming to the fourth chakra, mainly the heart chakra, which is very important for all these things, which is the Anahata, where we have the Shakti Pita in Baidyanath Dham, which is linked with the Baidyanath Jyotirling. That is where Sati Ambal's heart fell, and that is where ultimately the body was cremated also. That is why you can now guess here why we have Jyotirlingas, where we have the human body which is cremated the previous day, and that Bhasma is poured as the Bhasma Abhisheka for Shivlinga there. Whereas in South India it is not, because Jyotirlingas are the places where Shakti Pitas were formed and Ambal's body parts were fallen, they fell down, and that is the reason. And Ambal was cremated in Ambal's body was cremated as Sati in Baidyanath Dham, and that is why you have Shakti Pitas and Jyotirlingas which came into being, and these chakras which were linked to that. So this were some points which I wanted to mention, though there are a lot of other points which is very difficult to mention in a 1 hour session. We can have it as a different workshop which is open to all. Okay, and any questions? Tomorrow, in fact, we would be also mentioning about how to, as you would have already seen the program for tomorrow. In that, we will also mention in little detail about how to identify your aura practically and how to enhance it by your practices and all, because other 2 days we have the methodology. Though we have the methodology for the other 2 days, it will be better to take a little bit of that tomorrow also, so that we are able to complete it in the basic level of the course in a much more progressive and clear practical way. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Shivakumar sir. We really enjoyed day 1. Any questions for Dr. Shivakumar? Shivakumar ji, we can ask at this time.
Mama, Sandhya பேசுறேன்.
சொல்லுங்கம்மா.
Is there any particular time of the day where you do the slogam for each chakra, or is it you do your morning
Here I
prayers?
want to, it's a very beautiful question. Here I want to clear a lot of misconception which everyone has, that is all over the world. There is no particular time for chanting any sloka, which people have just made it as a practice. You can do it if your mind is pure, and you can do it anytime, but do it in a very calm way so that you can really invoke the energy. So when doing the aura chakra cleansing or harnessing the energies, you can do it anytime. It doesn't require you to either fast or before food or after food, nothing like that. You can do it anytime.
Okay, and no number of times allowed. You can just say as many times as you want, like
as many times. And there is another thing also which I wanted to clear the misconception. There will be another question for everyone, in the sense, I guess, because many a times I have heard people asking in many other places like Dubai, whether if we don't do it for few days and then continue, whether there will be some toxins in our body, or whether our everything will be clogged. Nothing like that. Nothing is clogged, because as I had mentioned earlier in the class itself, you would have got it, that every day our own body does a lot of harnessing. It is only that we are trying to balance it further to make it more Shiramakya, that is Manchiga Inka Pani Chaitaniki, to make it more clearly into an equilibrated way. We do all this practice. So you can continue anytime. It is just like the dance classes. Dance, when you don't do for some days, the flexibility may be a little different, but cycling, it is something like cycling. When you do cycling in the young age, you never forget the balance, even when you don't do for cycling for many years, and then you take up a car or a scooter, or you definitely get the balance, right? Especially with a scooter or anything. It is something like that.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? This is an interactive session, and I want everyone to really imbibe and implement, as we had mentioned in the Sundarakantam. Here it is really imbibing and implementing rather than listening to just the Ramayana, because this is very important for you people and for me also, where we really, harness the energies and we enjoy the benefits of it every day in our life with interaction of people and everything.
So, Mama, can you just repeat those 7 mantras so that we make sure that we note it down properly?
Yes, ma. I come to that with each chakra. Mooladhara chakra, you have Gam Ganapate Namaha. Swadhisthana chakra, you have Paramahamsaya Namaha. Manipura chakra, you have Narayanaya, clean Narayanaya Namaha. Anahata chakra, you have Vidya Medam Esha Pratyam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Vidya Medho Esha Pratyam. Vidya Medho Esha Pratyam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. For Vishuddhi, you have Para Saraswatye Namaha.
Mama, can you please repeat the Anahata one more time? Vidya Medho.
Vidya Medho Esha Pratyam. Vidya is education. Vidya Medho. Medho is education. Vidya is education. Medho is for intellect. Esha is for getting the Eshas, you know, that the praise of attraction of people. And Esha Pratyam. Pratyam is consciousness. All these four attributes.
Thank you.
And then Vishuddhi, you have Parasaraswati Namaha. Then for Ajna, you have Shadakshara Namaha. Subramanyooham, you can quote it as Subramanyooham. That is the correct mantra. And then for Sahasrara, you have Dum Durgaye Namaha.
So we can repeat these 7 mantras on a daily basis, how many number of times we would like to.
Whatever time you want it. And especially for people who have problems of thyroid, specifically they can repeat Vishuddhi. Like that you can term at, you can modulate accordingly. This is a methodology when we will describe in the third day. Methodology, how you do it. With children for education, you can do Anahatabja mantra rather than all the mantras. Like that you can modulate. It is actually நமக்கு ஒரு கிட் கிடைச்சதுன்னா அதை எப்படி யூஸ் பண்ணணுங்கிறது நம்ம கையில அதுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி நமக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி மிக்ஸி இருக்கிறவா சிலப்ப சட்னி மட்டும் அரைப்பா சிலவா ட்ரையா மிளகாவத்துல எல்லாம் பொடிச்சுட்டு இருப்பா அந்த மாதிரி யூ கேன் யூஸ் இட் ஃபார் டிஃபரெண்ட் பர்பஸ்.
அதுக்கு ஒரு சூக்ஷ்ம சக்கரம் வேணுமே மாமா, அது தெரியறதுக்கு.
அது கரெக்ட். அந்த சூக்ஷ்ம சக்கரத்தை ஹார்னஸ் பண்ணறதுதான் we are going to do in the third and fourth day. பட் இன்னைக்கே நான் அதோட மெத்தட்ஸ் சொல்லியிருக்கேன். so you people can start doing it slowly so that என்னன்னா கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா டெய்லி பண்ணா இது வந்து not for anything else. உங்களோட டெய்லி லைஃப்ல பீப்புள்கிட்ட இன்டராக்ட் பண்ணதா இப்ப ஹஸ்பண்ட் இருக்காரு, ஹஸ்பண்ட் நான் குத்தமா சொல்ல ஹஸ்பண்ட் இருக்காரு, ஹஸ்பண்ட் இஸ் ஃப்ரம் a different wavelength எல்லாருக்குமே. வைஃப் வந்து டிஃப்ரெண்ட் wavelength, அந்த wavelength கொஞ்சம் நல்லா மேட்ச் பண்ணறதுக்கு சோ நன்னா சொல்ல நம்ம இது பண்ணா அவரை அட்ராக்ட் பண்ண முடியும். அவரை வந்து நல்ல விதத்துல அட்ராக்ட்னா நெகட்டிவா நான் சொல்ல, நல்ல விதத்துல இது பண்ணி அந்த சுமூகமா அந்த தாம்பத்தியம் அந்த ஃபேமிலி போகும். அதே மாதிரி குழந்தைகளை நல்லபடியா அவளை கவர்ன் பண்ண முடியும். அவளை நன்னா படிக்க வைக்க, அவளை வந்து ஆர்கியூ பண்ணிட்டு சண்டை போட்டு வீட்டுல எல்லாம் இந்த காலத்துல டிஸ்ரப்ஷன் எஸ்பெஷலி இந்த கோவிட் டைம்ல அதெல்லாம் நிவர்த்தி ஆகும். இதெல்லாம் அதுக்கெல்லாம் சாமர்த்தியமா யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். அதுக்குதான் இன்டைரக்டா நான் அதை பச்சையா சொல்லிட்டுனா people will take the negative side of it. I am saying the positive side of it. Take it as a positive magic, not a negative magic.
என்னமாமா குடும்பத்துல குழப்பத்தை உண்டாக்குறேன் இந்த மாதிரி அட்ராக்ட் சொல்லிட்டு.
நானு அல்டிமேட்லி இதெல்லாம் சொன்னாலும் நாரதரோட சிஷ்யன் ஆச்சு. அப்ப நாரதன் கூட செய்யணுமே கொஞ்சம்.
I'm just kidding.
இதுல என்ன தெரியுமா, ஒரே ஒரு இது சொல்லிவிட்டு நான் இது பண்றேன். அதாவது அசுராஸ் எல்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இங்க வந்து இந்த இதுல வந்து அசுராஸ் எல்லாம் இருக்கா பாருங்க. நம்ம கதையில எல்லாம் கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கிற அசுராஸுக்கு எல்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு சுவாதிஷ்டான சக்ரா வாஸ் தி மோஸ்ட் பவர்ஃபுல். ஹலோ,
எஸ் கேக்குறது சொல்லுங்க.
அது அசுராஸ்கெல்லாம் சுவாதிஷ்டான சக்ரா வாஸ் மோர் பவர்ஃபுல். அதனாலதான் அவ அழிஞ்சு போனா. ஏன்னா அதை மட்டும் யூஸ் பண்ணி பாக்கி சக்ராஸை பேலன்ஸ் பண்ணாம போனதுனால அவ பிட்டுட்ரி காட் டிஸ்ரப்டட். இதுதான் ஆச்சு. அதனாலதான் மண்டையை வந்து திங்க் பண்ணாம என்னெல்லாமோ பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தா. அதே வந்து நம்ம பொலிட்டீஷியன்ஸை பார்த்தோம்னா சுவாதிஷ்டானாவும் நல்ல பவர்ஃபுல், அதே மாதிரி ஹார்ட் சக்ராவும் நல்ல பவர்ஃபுல். அனாஹதாப்ஜா அதை வந்து அதனாலதான் அவ வந்து சாமர்த்தியமா அந்த சுவாதிஷ்டானாவோட இன்ஃபுளுன்ஸோட சேர்ந்து இருக்கிறதுனாலதான் they used it for materialistic but at the same time aggressive way of doing all the politicians. அதே வந்து saints எல்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அவளுக்கு வந்து ஆக்ஞா and சஹஸ்ராரா was more powerful, so they were able to influence everyone in the right way and also get attracted by all people. இதுதான், that was the difference. Now I'm just giving you examples.
I have a question.
அப்ப according
Can we have the kids chant the mantra?
Hello? I'm not able to hear. The voice has gone.
Can you hear me now?
And now it's clear, ma. Tell me, ma.
I had a question. Can we have the kids chant the mantras?
100%. Anyone can chant.
Okay.
There is no restriction. Anyone can chant because it's only the harnessing of the energies of your body. body, which has no other repercussions. You can do it in a scientific medical way. There is nothing to worry. And one more thing here, which I wanted to mention when I mentioned all these examples of what the chakras politicians or asuras and saints use. Accordingly, you can guess, accordingly, you can extrapolate in your mind what chakras means, what glands were active in them, which gland was more powerful, which hormones were more powerful. It's a scientific analysis. And now here there is a link. Finally, I am telling that also today. There is a link between the chakras and the Parakosha and Sukshma chakras, which ultimately govern your sensory organs, the 5 organs which we described in Sundarakandam: nose, eyes, touch, tongue, and ears, which are the things which are from outside, receive all the things, and which process you into your the buddhi and outside. This is directly linked because they are sensory organs are known as receptors. They are receptors to receive all the things from outside atmosphere, from the universe, from the people, from outside, and that is which is getting processed in your nervous system, central nervous system, to the periphery nervous system, which communicates and does all your actions, and which through the chakras emits out as aura, which comes in the body. This is the scientific actual principle, the nutshell of it, which I gave you today. Right? I hope it was simple in understanding, and I hope everyone was able to understand it. I made an effort. I hope the Almighty has blessed all of you to get an insight into it. And if there is anything which I could improvise, you can let me know.
Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you. And I think your time is also getting this thing. So see you all tomorrow again with an interesting session, further continuing with the practices and all, and then explaining a lot of things and interacting more so that you gain more knowledge and practically imbibe that.
Thank you, Shivakumar ji.
Right?
Appreciate it. We will
Thank
see
you, Ma.
everyone
Thank
at
you, everyone.
8:30.
Sure. Thank you, Mama. Thank you.
8:30 p.m.
Thank you, Ma.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
8:30 p.m. tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good day, Mr. Kumar Mama.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Take care.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you. Have a nice day ahead. Thank you.